Hi everybody, I'm Garrett, and you're watching Garrett's O-Gauge Trains. Today's video has been one of the most requested videos I've ever been asked to make, and after countless comments and messages asking to see it, I finally decided it was time to give you a complete tour of my entire O-Gauge collection. Over the years, I've been fortunate enough to collect some incredible locomotives, passenger trains, freight equipment, and railroad memorabilia. So today, we're going to take a look at all of it. From some of the earliest steam locomotives ever built to some of the largest and most powerful engines to ever run on American rails. As we go through my collection, I won't just be showing you the models themselves, I'll also be sharing the history behind many of these locomotives, what made them significant, and why they've earned a place in both railroad history and in my collection. To make it easy for those of you who are collectors, every time I introduce a locomotive, you'll see a banner appear at the bottom of your screen, showing the manufacturer, the item number, and the year that particular model was produced. That way, if there's something you'd like to add to your own collection, you'll have all the information right in front of you. And just before we get started, if you enjoy videos like this and want to see more model railroading content, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down in the comments which locomotive or piece of rolling stock from today's video is your favorite. With that said, let's jump into the video. Welcome to what I consider the centerpiece of my collection, my locomotive wall. These are some of my favorite engines, each one chosen because of its history, engineering, or simply because it's a locomotive I've always admired. Every one of them has a story to tell. We'll start with one of the most unusual steam locomotives ever built, the Erie Triplex. Designed to haul enormous freight trains, its 3 sets of driving wheels made it one of the largest and most powerful steam locomotives ever constructed. While it wasn't the most successful design, it's impossible not to appreciate the ambition behind it. Next up is my Central Railroad of New Jersey, number 532, an American Type 440. Locomotives like this helped build the nation during the 19th century, representing an era when railroads were rapidly expanding across America and becoming the backbone of transportation. Moving right along is the New York Central Mohawk, number 3051. Built to handle both fast freight and passenger service, the Mohawks became some of the New York Central's most dependable locomotives, and perfectly represent the railroad's philosophy of speed and efficiency. Back over here sits the Pierre Marquette Berkshire, number 1225. The Berkshire wheel arrangement became famous for combining power with speed, influencing steam locomotive design across the country, and proving that freight engines could be both fast and incredibly capable. Next, we have the New York, Ontario, and Western, number 244, one of the railroad's iconic camelbacks. With its cab mounted over the boiler to accommodate anthracite coal firing, it's one of the most recognizable locomotive designs ever built, and a true symbol of Northeastern railroading. One locomotive I have representing the Pennsylvania Railroad is the M1, number 6755. The M1 was the Pennsylvania Railroad's premier dual-service locomotive, equally at home pulling heavy freight or passenger trains. It embodied the Pennsylvania Railroad's reputation for strength and reliability. Then I have one of the most fascinating experiments in railroad history, Pennsylvania Railroad S2, number 6200. Powered by a massive steam turbine instead of traditional pistons, it was incredibly smooth and powerful at high speeds. Although the design never caught on, it remains one of the most ambitious steam locomotive experiments ever attempted. Moving on to something a little different is the Long Island Railroad H3, number 164. Smaller than many of the giants on this wall, locomotives like this played a vital role in commuter service around New York, reminding us that railroading wasn't just about massive mainline power, it was also about moving people every single day. Front and center on my display wall here is one of the most beautiful trains ever to grace American rails, the Blue Comet. Operated by the Central Railroad of New Jersey, its striking blue paint, luxurious passenger service, and elegant styling have made it one of the most iconic trains in railroad history. It's been one of my dream locomotive pieces for a long time, so naturally it earned its spot front and center on my wall. Continuing on, we come to one of my favorite freight locomotives ever built, the Pennsylvania Railroad Q2, number 6193. Often considered the most powerful rigid-frame steam locomotive ever constructed, the Q2 was designed to move enormous freight trains with ease. It's an absolute powerhouse and one of the highlights of my collection. Then there's the locomotive that needs almost no introduction, the iconic Union Pacific Big Boy. As one of the largest steam locomotives ever built, the Big Boy has become a legend both inside and outside the railroading community, especially this year with its long-distance travel to Philadelphia. Its size alone makes it one of the most recognizable locomotives in history. Next is the Norfolk and Western number 611. Famous for its streamlined appearance and incredible performance, the J-Class has become one of the world's most beloved preserved steam locomotives. Seeing it operate is on just about every rail fan's bucket list. Now, like I said earlier, not every locomotive on this wall is a giant, and this one here is a testament to that. This little 44-ton switcher number 9331 proves that sometimes the smallest engines do some of the most important work. Built to move freight around yards and industries, locomotives like this quietly kept railroads operating day after day. The last two locomotives are especially meaningful to me because I get to work alongside them at the Strasburg Rail Road. This is Strasburg Rail Road number 89, a Canadian-built mogul that has become one of the railroad's signature steam locomotives. Being able to see it in operation and work with it, and then display it here in model form, makes it one of my favorite pieces. And finally, one of my favorite steam locomotives of all time, the Strasburg Railroad number 90. Number 90 represents everything I love about preserved steam railroading. It's a reminder that these incredible machines aren't just museum pieces, they're living history that inspires people every day. This wall alone is more than just a collection of locomotives, it's a timeline of railroad history, from early American steam to experimental engineering, legendary passenger trains, massive freight haulers, and the preserved locomotives that continue to keep that history alive. Every engine here has earned its place, and together, they represent what I love most about this hobby. Sticking with the theme of locomotives, here on this shelf are some of the engines I most frequently use on the layout, as well as a few I don't currently have a permanent place for on a display shelf. These are the locomotives that see regular use in operations, or represent unique pieces in the collection that rotate throughout different assignments, depending on what I'm running on the railroad. First up here is my Atlantic Coast Line E6 ABA set numbers 522 and 523. This is a classic streamlined passenger diesel consist representing the golden age of named passenger trains and the push for faster, more efficient rail travel in the diesel era. Next is the Norfolk Southern SD60E number 911. This locomotive represents modern, rebuilt freight power, blending the classic SD60 with updated technology efficiency for today's railroading demands. Following that is the Lackawanna Trainmaster, number 853. This is a classic early diesel freight locomotive representing the transition era when railroads were moving away from steam and into more diesel power locomotives. Next is the Susquehanna and Western Alco S2, number 206. This is a small but powerful switcher designed for yard work and local freight service, and is a perfect example of the hardworking Alco industrial designs. This here is the Pennsylvania Railroad B6 number 1670. This locomotive shows the classic Pennsylvania Railroad switching power used in yards and terminals where constant, reliable movement of freight cars was essential to successful operations. Next to it is actually one of my newest additions, the Alaska Railroad Alco RS1. A rugged and versatile road switcher, this locomotive represents the demanding operating conditions of railroading in Alaska, where flexibility and reliability are critical. Just down here is my Norfolk and Southern SD50 number 6302. This is a high horsepower freight locomotive from the transition into the modern diesel era, built for long-haul freight service and heavy trains. Next up is one of the most iconic Pennsylvania Railroad pieces in railroading history, the GG1. This is number 4842. The GG1 is one of the most iconic electric locomotives ever built, known for its incredible longevity, smooth performance, and unmistakable streamlined design. This here is the Union Pacific SD60M number 6187. This locomotive is a prime example of modern wide cab freight power, designed for crew comfort, visibility, and long-distance heavy freight operations across the western United States. Following that is the Norfolk Southern SD70 ACE New York Central Heritage Unit number 1066. This locomotive pays tribute to one of the most famous railroads in American history, combining modern power with a classic paint scheme that connects past and present railroading. Now we move along to the CSX Business Class F40PH number CSX-1. This locomotive is used primarily for CSX business trains, inspections, and official railroad functions. It represents the more specialized side of passenger railroading, where locomotives are assigned to executive movements, track inspections, and other non-revenue but essential railroading operations. This is the Pennsylvania Railroad CC1 number 8183. This is an 0880 steam locomotive, representing one of Pennsylvania Railroad's more unusual and experimental heavy freight designs. It reflects the Pennsylvania Railroad's constant push to develop new solutions for moving extreme tonnage over their system. Next is the Colorado and Southern Consolidation number 641. This classic steam freight locomotive represents heavy freight service in the American West, and what makes this particular model stand out is the large snowplow mounted on the front, designed for operation in harsh winter conditions and mountainous territory. Now back over here, moving down onto the shelf below these two locomotive shelves. This shelf is home to my Atlas Premier Freight rolling stock. Now, a large portion of these cars are currently out on the layout in active service, which is why this shelf may look a little incomplete at the moment. These cars help bring a more modern feel to my layout, with modern freight operations representing a wide range of industries and interchange traffic across the railroad. And below that are the final two shelves from this unit. This section consists of my 027 semi-scale collection of locomotives and rolling stock. These are more traditional and sentimental pieces from earlier in my model railroading journey, and they're not part of my operating roster, but I also don't want to get rid of them because they have such personal value. This includes the Lionel Canadian Pacific GP unit and the Lionel Hall class St. Nicholas Christmas locomotive, alongside matching 027 era rolling stock. While they may appear way simpler than compared to my more modern equipment, they represent where my interest in model railroading began, and they remain an important and personal part of my collection. Now we're moving into the shelving units, where a large part of the operating side of this collection comes together. This is where the railroad shifts from individual locomotives into full consists that represent real movement, real purpose, and complete trains as they would appear in operation. Starting up here on this half, this is my passenger section, where my passenger consists are stored and displayed. This part of the collection represents the golden age of rail travel. Everything from heavyweight passenger service to streamlined consists designed for speed, comfort, and long-distance mainline runs. Each set here tells a different story. Some represent famous named trains, others are assembled to capture the feel of a specific railroad or era, but all of them share the same purpose: bringing passenger railroading to life in model form. One of the most meaningful additions to this section for me is my Southern Pacific Daylight passenger set. The story about this is quite an interesting one. I had been searching for Southern Pacific Daylight scale passenger cars for a very long time, and I could never find them anywhere. I checked online constantly, I looked through listings, and I kept coming up empty. It got to the point where I just assumed I might never actually find a set until they remake them. Then one day, I was visiting Trains and Lanes Hobbies in Pennsylvania, and I decided to ask anyway, even though I already knew what the answer was going to be. As expected, they told me they didn't have any. So I just kept browsing the store, looking around for anything else that might catch my attention. And as I was looking up towards the top shelf, I was 11 at the time, I noticed a large Lionel box tucked away above everything else. The label was facing outward, and I could barely make out the words Southern Pacific Daylight. I ran over to one of the employees and asked if they could pull it down for me. Again, I was 11 at the time, so I wasn't able to reach that high. And when they brought it down and opened it up, it turned out to be exactly the set I had been looking for. The employee was genuinely shocked that they even had it in the store, because it had been sitting up there for so long that the top of the box had completely bleached out from the fluorescent lighting. And just like that, after searching everywhere, I finally had the Southern Pacific Daylight set. Now, just below these three shelves of mostly passenger cars is where things get a little heavier, both visually and thematically. Here you'll find tank cars, hopper cars, boxcars, mixed freight consists that represent the variety of American railroading. These cars move everything from agricultural products and raw materials to industrial goods, fuel, and logistics across the entire rail network. What I love about this section is that every car has a very unique purpose. Nothing here exists just for display. It represents real working rail traffic and how railroads quietly keep everything in motion behind the scenes. This is a prime example of the working side of my railroad, the side that doesn't always get the spotlight, but without it, nothing else will function. Metaphorically speaking, of course. One thing I really want to highlight from this shelf here, and is tucked away in this collection, is something a little bit more unique. Up here I have my Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway set. Unlike the mainline freight and passenger consists, this represents scenic tourist railroading through some of the most beautiful areas of Pennsylvania. kind of like my Strasburg Rail Road passenger cars as well. This isn't about tonnage speed or schedules. I mean, it's kind of about schedules. It's mostly, though, about experience. So that concludes this entire section of my collection. We're going to be moving on to the actual layout now. The layout right now has two locomotives that are very special to me that I'm excited to show you. Before we move on to the layout, looking at my entire collection really makes me think about how awesome this journey has been, and how much I truly love just sitting down and enjoying running trains. There's something about stepping back, watching everything come together, and just taking it all in that reminds me why I got into this hobby in the first place. And one of the things that makes those moments even better is a good cup of coffee while I'm running trains. That's where Iron Horse Roasters Coffee comes in. They were kind enough to send over some amazing coffee. This here is their whiskey barrel aged roast, along with a custom shirt with my logo on it and a custom mug. This is a great representation of railroading craftsmanship and something you can enjoy while watching your trains go around the layout. Whether I'm working on layout filming or just sitting back and enjoying running trains for a little while, that coffee has become part of the experience for me. And I am very, very thankful for Iron Horse Roasters Coffee for getting me involved with their business and helping me with mine. Now, as we move into the final corner of the layout, this area really brings everything together and shows the railroad in operation. In the far corner rests my Erie Lackawanna SW8 switcher, overseeing some of the Atlas freight cars I had mentioned earlier. These cars mainly consist of grain hoppers, ADM tank cars, and large box cars. This section really represents the day-to-day switching and local freight operations that keep this little railroad moving. Over to my left is my Pennsylvania Railroad GP30 number 2233 and my Pennsylvania Railroad B28S number 7641. Both locomotives are actively working tourist trains, consisting of wood-sided passenger cars from both the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Strasburg Railroad. This section blends a bit of real inspiration with model railroading, capturing the feel of an active railroad where equipment is constantly being switched, assembled, and sent out on different assignments. Lastly, we come to my very first train set, the New York Central Flyer. I got this set when I was just 3 years old for Christmas, and it was the set that kickstarted my love for railroading, both real and model. This little locomotive is where everything started for me. And as I've grown into more scale-focused operations and more detailed modeling, I wanted to find a way to honor that original set in a meaningful way. So now I've completed a full-scale representation of that very first train set, centered around the Lionel Vision Line Hudson number 5344. Every car you see here is a scale version of the original New York Central Flyer consist. I even have the scale versions of the passenger expansion set that I also got for Christmas that year. So in a way, this whole collection comes full circle. One of my newest additions is also tied to my very first. And with that, we've made it all the way through the entire layout, from locomotives that shaped railroad history, to operating freight and passenger consists, to the shelves, yards, and display pieces, and finally all the way back to where it all began. This hobby has been a lifelong journey for me, and I am incredibly grateful to be able to share it with all of you. If you enjoyed this video, please, please, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more O-Gauge railroading content from me. And I'd really like to know in the comments, what was your favorite locomotive, train set, or section from the entire collection? I would also love to know what your favorite piece in your collection is. Once again, thank you for watching Garrett's O-Gauge Trains.